All right, man. Peace. So on tap for tonight is the mega bout between Gennady Triple G Golovkin and Saul Canelo Alvarez to see who is going to achieve the preeminence in the middleweight division for boxing. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Our next guest calls this fight his gold medal as a promoter, 10-time world champion, CEO of Golden Boy Promotions. The crowd's not excited or anything. Friend of the show, Oscar De La Hoya, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, this is his gold medal fight because he needs this fight to really work. His company is in trouble, and they've been in trouble for the last 3 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for making this fight happen.
How much did you pay these guys? I mean, come on.
Yeah, they paid the audience about the same amount that you tried to pay to keep all them freaky pictures of you under wraps. You know them photos of you in the fishnets and the pumps that you claim was Photoshop? The reason why he said that they were Photoshop because he really had on a blonde wig, not a brunette wig.
Appreciation for Oscar, a promoter that told me there will be this fight in 2017, and he delivered. Major props.
He had to deliver. People were starting to get tired of the quasi build-up for this fight. They were trying to mimic the Mayweather-Pacquiao build-up, and nobody cared even a fraction for the build-up for this fight to the Mayweather-Pacquiao build-up. So he knew that he couldn't string it out any longer. He was trying to wait for Canelo to grow into the weight while also trying to wait for Triple G to show some signs of attrition and of aging. And, both those things have come together to the point where now it's time to make the fight.
Major prop. You made it happen. You convinced me. You convinced me.
I wish. So for how many years did I couldn't convince you in how many years? And he said one thing and it convinced you?
Well, he threatened me. Oh. That's why. That's the difference.
Oscar, you call this fight your...
And when he says Stephen A. threatened him, he means that because he knows Stephen A. will go on TV and start talking all type of shit. Remember, Stephen A. also threatened Floyd Mayweather when he said if the next fight is not the Pacquiao fight, we should boycott Floyd Mayweather. Stephen A. said that right before Floyd made the fight with Pacquiao. All right, so Oscar knows. Oscar's not in the position of a Floyd Mayweather where, Floyd could pretty much look at Stephen A. and say, you know what, go to hell, which is basically what Floyd did to Stephen A. when Steve came on TV and made that proclamation. Oscar knows that he's not in the position to do that. His company is in trouble. So, he's only half joking when he says that Stephen A. threatened him.
Your gold medal as a promoter. How come?
Right. Well, I mean, I had the opportunity to win a gold medal for the U.S. in 1992. And that's like the top of the top. That's the top of the top. Oh, yeah.
Anybody who remembers De La Hoya in the 92 Olympics, they had created this whole narrative around him as the guy who was fighting for his deceased mother. Remember he would come to the stare down right before the fight was about to commence, and he would look up into the heavens, talking to his mother. That was the narrative. That's how they built him up. And of course, he was able to achieve his goal and win the gold medal. That's how he got the name Golden Boy. By the way, the term Golden Boy is also a term that's used for the god Hermes. For those of you who don't know, Hermes is another name for Pan, or as we know him, Kush. Okay? The so-called Golden Boy, depicted with the wings on his feet, the messenger god.
Oh yeah, right? How beautiful is that, right? So that's like the pinnacle of my career as an amateur, and so now as a promoter, this is why I became a promoter. This fight here,
it's the biggest for you as a promoter.
It's the most important. It's maybe not the biggest, but.
Yes, notice he said it's not the biggest. He says it's the most important. Why is that? Because he knows that almost every Floyd Mayweather fight that he was in charge of promoting, because he did promote Floyd's fights all the way from the fight that he had with Floyd, all the way through the fight with Miguel Cotto. He knows how huge this fight is for his company. All right, this fight is going to make or break where Golden Boy Promotions goes after this fight.
But the most important fight in my career as a promoter.
Why?
Because right now we're riding a wave, and boxing is being talked about. You have the whole Mayweather-McGregor exhibition that took place.
Yeah, you can call it an exhibition if you want to, but it's really just another sign of Mayweather being what he's always been, and which is why he's the most wealthy athlete on the planet Earth. Him being a forward thinker. He understands things long before others do. All right, when it comes to the boxing world, meaning both in the ring and the business aspect, the logistical aspect, he is a genius. Okay? He is a genius. People could talk about how he can't read and all that. All that shit is just ants throwing rocks at a lion when it comes to the boxing world. He understands it inside and out from the top of the pyramid to the bottom. And that's the exact reason why Oscar De La Hoya was also trying to make the McGregor fight happen for his fighter. Because he understands that not only is it an easy payday, it is a great exhibition for his fighter, and it provides for crossover appeal with the mixed martial art fans. Okay? This is why Floyd Mayweather for the last 2 years called himself the biggest name in MMA, because he understood that Dana White was trying to use the same promotional tactic that Bob Arum was trying to use with Pacquiao, which was to associate his fighters with Floyd Mayweather. That's how you know who the biggest name in combat sports is.
Call it what it is, right? Exhibition that took place, and so people are talking about boxing. Look, all the MMA fans that watched McGregor and watched that fight, thought it was a good fight. And so, if you thought that was a good fight, I mean, wait till Saturday night. I mean that.
Notice Oscar said all the MMA fans who watched that fight between McGregor and Mayweather thought that fight was a good fight. Why is he saying that? Because as a high-level a former boxer, he knows that Floyd Mayweather carried McGregor and made the fight look competitive when it really wasn't. If Floyd wanted to, he could have did the same thing that he ended up doing, which is trying to make McGregor lose all his steam early. He could have done the same thing and accomplished the same goal while being offensive early in the fight. But, he really just wanted to make McGregor look competitive and make him look better than he was. So he stood there and took punches. It is what it is.
I mean, that's going to be
a great year for boxing. Anthony Joshua and Klitschko and Ward and Kovalev. We've had a million great fights, and this is the one that we've all been waiting for.
I agree, and next year I expect other great fights on the horizon. Hopefully, Joshua and Wilder. Hopefully, we'll get Ward and Adonis Stevenson. And at the end of next year, hopefully we'll get Terrence Crawford against Errol Spence. And throw Keith Thurman in the middle of that early next year. Hopefully we'll get those fights.
For Oscar, you were a fighter who was built earlier in your career. You started hearing criticism. Oscar's not fighting all the top guys. And then you took your career into your own hands and fought everyone. And as a result, you had some losses. And maybe some people wind up underrating you in history because if you fight everyone when they're in their primes, sometimes you're going to lose.
No. When you fight everyone in their primes, you're going to lose if you face fighters whose styles you cannot combat. Okay? That's the slick way of trying to get at Floyd Mayweather. But let me let him finish so I can truly, retort his sentiment, his narrative.
Then Mayweather followed you, and he was much more careful, and he picked and chose when he fought guys, almost never got hit, made a ton of money, and never lost. That sent a message to a lot of fighters, be very careful.
I knew that, when he started his initial statement, his sentiment, that it was just an attempt to attack and address Floyd Mayweather. A lot of these people are very upset that Floyd Mayweather has changed the paradigm, not just in boxing, but in the combat sports world and in sports overall. He's the first athlete to truly, honestly be his own boss and maximize his money-making potential. So they have to try to demonize his career fight choices. Nobody has beaten more world champions than Floyd Mayweather. That is a fact. You cannot pick and choose your opponents. You cannot cherry pick when you're fighting champions. I don't care how old they are. I don't care how young they are. If they have the belt, that means that they're the top guy on the totem pole. If you beat them, that means that you're fighting top competition. You understand? So, no, it doesn't work like that. Furthermore, he made a statement. He said, Max Kellerman made a statement. He said that when you're fighting guys in their prime, you're going to lose. No, not necessarily. You don't lose because you're fighting guys who are 27, 28 years old. You lose to those guys because you cannot combat their style. Certain fighters get in the ring and they have a style that you cannot combat. Muhammad Ali, even in his prime, if he fought a fighter with a great left hook, he was in trouble. Why is that? Because he kept his hands down low. He had a blind spot in his right eye. He could not see certain left hooks coming. Right? He had defensive deficiencies. What makes Floyd Mayweather great? His style is what makes him great. His adaptability. He's able to fight guys who are stronger than him, who are faster than him, who are more aggressive than him, who fight going backwards, who fight coming forwards. Floyd Mayweather has shown that whatever style you bring into the ring, he's able to combat it. He has a key to, open that lock. That's what makes him, as he calls it, TBE. And then when you look at his decision making out of the ring in regards to boxing business, I mean, he's non-pareil. There's no getting around it. So, a lot of these guys are disdainful of that. And please remember, Max Kellerman is property of HBO. He represents HBO interests. After Floyd Mayweather left Bob Arum, he became known as the Ducker. This was 2006. Okay? After he left HBO in 2012, you had guys like Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman who decided that they were going to start levying multiple verbal attacks on Floyd Mayweather's business decisions. All right? They just feel like that's what's best to do because they're frustrated that he left and became even bigger. This is why I always tell brothers, man, don't be scared to follow your vision. Have a vision for yourself so that you can be happy, man. See, Floyd Mayweather's happy. They don't like that he was able to leave them and achieve greater things after he left HBO. Well, once again, Max Kellerman is an asset. He is property of HBO. He represents their interests. Floyd Mayweather is somebody who has transcended a lot of the conventional athlete restrictions. So it bothers a lot of people.
Careful, right? Don't fight all the guys in their prime.
It's so funny with these guys. You hear so many times Floyd Mayweather was waiting for Manny Pacquiao to get old. How the hell could you wait for somebody to get old when you're older than them? Can somebody explain that shit to me? They said he waited for Shane Mosley to get old. Floyd Mayweather challenged Shane Mosley to his lightweight title in 1999. Shane Mosley said, no, I'm moving up to go fight Oscar. And when I say his title, I'm talking about Shane Mosley's title. Floyd Mayweather was the champion at 130. Shane was the champion at 135. This was back in 1999. Okay, when Floyd was about 21, 22 years old, and Shane was, probably in his mid-20s, mid to late 20s. He challenged Shane to Shane's lightweight title. Shane said, no, I'm moving up to fight Oscar. That's fine. 2006 or 2005, Floyd fought Sean Bay Mitchell. After the fight, he challenged Shane again. Shane said after his fight with Fernando Vargas, he said, I have a loose tooth. I can't fight Floyd right now. I got to think about it. Okay? These are the facts.
As a promoter, you must be experiencing that now because as much money as you're going to make here, you're risking your cash cow against a very dangerous fighter. Talk to me about what that means. Risk, reward for boxing.
Well, the risk reward. For instance, look, he's not Golden Boy's cash cow. I think he's boxing's cash cow. Now, this Canelo Alvarez is the only fighter now that is a box office draw that can carry boxing to new heights.
Well, if Canelo is boxing's cash cow, then you have to tell me why he's fighting the biggest fight of his career, allegedly, and he's not even making 8 figures, allegedly. He's not making 8 figures for this fight. So either he's not a bigger cash cow as you're trying to make him out to be, or you're fleecing him, or your promotional company cannot afford to pay him what he's worth. It has to be one of the three, Oscar.
I believe that these types of fights will take boxing to a whole new stratosphere.
But how do you? So you're promoting a fight which is going to give fans amazing stuff, but there's also risk involved. Your guy could lose. There's going to be a lot of punishment.
And so what? If it's a great fight, so he loses.
Yeah, of course, because you know that you can rebuild him because Canelo has the complexion for the connection. He will resonate with various populations, and you could bring him back. If he was a so-called black fighter, you really can't do that. You have to repackage him. All right, there are very few black fighters who could transcend 1 or 2 losses. Very few.
That's how you conducted your career.
that's how I conducted my career, and now I want to conduct myself as a promoter. See, these are the fights that boxing needs. That's the bottom line. The fans deserve it.
It's interesting if you say that. I appreciate that. Because, Max, I want to counter your point with this question to Oscar. I don't believe Canelo loses, even if he loses the fight. The only way, I shouldn't say no way, the only way is if Triple G walked in there and destroyed him in the first round or something like that.
Right.
Outside of that, I don't see how Canelo
That's
loses.
what
He's
MMA
moving
has
up.
taught. What
That's right.
MMA, UFC has shown
That's what I'm
people
saying.
that when the best fight the best all the time, it's okay. You can lose and still give the fans their money, but still be a star.
Coming to y'all.
Well, before Stephen A. comes back to his argument, what the UFC has shown is that when you have a monopoly on the high-level talent, when you have one Caucasian man, that being Dana White, administering to all the processes of that organization, yes, he can recycle fighters who have lost 7-8 times because basically they're like a bunch of Mr. Potato Heads. They're easily replaceable. They operate very much like the NFL. They don't want anybody to be bigger than the brand. The only two people who they have allowed to transcend that credo is Conor McGregor, who, if you notice now, they're trying to build up a third fight with him and Nate Diaz, once again avoiding his mandatories. And before that, it was Ronda Rousey, who got a chance at a title shot, her first fight back, even though she got demolished in her previous fight. No warm-up fights, no nothing. So the real issue is not the fight choices of boxers. The real issue always is who's doing the choosing. All right? If Mayweather had fought the exact same fighters that he fought at the end of his career, and his fights were being chosen by someone else, by Bob Arum, as opposed to himself and his team, nobody would have complained, because it would have comforted people to know that Mayweather was under the control of another man, specifically an older Caucasian man. It makes people feel good to see a so-called black men under the control of older Caucasian men. It makes them feel like everything is is in proper alignment.
Y'all both with this question. I think that one of the things that's hurt boxing is that people have this thing where, oh my Lord, you got a loss or two on your record. No, we got to stop that. If you fight great fights and you got 1 or 2 losses on your resume, so damn what?
It's fine.
Well, the thing with boxing, Stephen A., is the fact of the matter is that when black fighters especially, when they lose one fight, their purse diminishes in their next fight. When they lose 2 fights, most of the time they're no longer considered main event fighters. Okay, when they lose 3 fights, now oftentimes they no longer are allowed to appear on top level cable networks like HBO or Showtime. Now they must go down to ESPN or Fox Sports 1, things of that nature. Okay, I mean, it is boxing is like every other business. It is results oriented. You must win. If you don't win, the bottom line is affected. So, I mean, we can all say, oh, in a perfect world, oh, yeah, man, you had a war with this guy. You had a war with that guy. It's okay if you lost. No, most of the time for a so-called black boxer especially, it's not okay. For example, Shane Mosley, he was viewed as the top fighter in boxing back in 2000. He lost a couple of fights to Vernon Forrest. Next thing you know, in a couple years, he's fighting on ESPN. He's no longer on HBO. All right? That's how the game goes.
It's fine.
I think it's fine. Do you agree with that?
I agree 100%. I agree 1,000%.
Muhammad Ali had 5 losses.
Yeah.
Oscar had a bunch of. Sugar Ray Robinson, by the time it was over, had like 19 losses. Great.
Hold up. Yes, Muhammad Ali had 5 losses. Muhammad Ali was also the most famous man on the planet. Okay? And you can go back and watch. Ali lost his first fight to Joe Frazier. They said he was done. He had to go on a worldwide tour, basically fighting once every 6 weeks to even have the chance to build up to fight Joe Frazier again. And then he fought Ken Norton in California and lost. And before his rematch with Kenny Norton, what's this guy's name? Howard Cosell was interviewing Muhammad Ali. And basically he was trying to imply to Ali that his career was on the line in that Ken Norton rematch. Okay? And Ali knew that that was the biggest fight of his career up to that point, because that was going to determine if he was still considered a top shelf fighter. Right? Now, Ali had 5 losses at the end of his career, but 3 of them came when he was already finished. All right. The first Leon Spinks fight where he lost, and then the last 2 fights of his career, Larry Holmes and Trevor Berbick, those fights don't really count for those of us who know the arc of Ali's career. He's really pretty much considered to be 56-2. I mean, but if you want to nitpick, you could say that there are certain fights that he got the decision on that he probably lost, like Jimmy Young or other fights like that. But nah. And as far as Ray Robinson, yeah, he had 19 losses, but the vast majority of his losses came at the very end of his career. There's no scenario where it is okay for fighters to lose fights at the peak of their career. These guys are creating a false narrative to subconsciously and subliminally attack Floyd Mayweather, and to build up Canelo in case he loses, which they have a suspicion that he will. I'm not sure yet. I mean, to me, it is whoever has better punch resistance to the opponent's punches. All right. I'm not sure if Triple G has fought a guy who hits as hard as Canelo. Maybe Danny Jacobs is up there. But it's going to be something to watch. Can Canelo and his upper body movement be enough to avoid Triple G's punches? Triple G is a great body puncher as well. We'll see. Right now, I have Triple G.
The greatest fighter of all time, because when you fight everyone, fight in and fight out over years and years, you're gonna lose sometimes, but the fans are happy. And by the way, a loss is not the end of your career or your greatness. There's no such thing as being undefeated if you're always fighting everybody.
Did you see what he said there? That was another shot at Mayweather. There's no such thing as being undefeated if you're always fighting everybody. That is not true. Whether you're undefeated or not is based on your ability to counter your opponent's style. Floyd Mayweather has been able to counter every style that he has fought against. All right? The reason why certain fighters lost, when you check out most of especially their first losses, is normally because they were unable to adapt to a style that somebody brought into the ring. Whether it was Ray Robinson when he lost to Jake LaMotta, or it was Ali when he lost to Joe Frazier, or it was Ray Leonard when he lost to Duran. A lot of them fought the wrong fight plan. They did not adapt. They did not do what it took to win the fight. That's why they lost. It wasn't because they quote-unquote fought everybody.
And the UFC shows that.
Good. See this fight here with Canelo and Triple G takes me back to Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns. Right. 3 rounds of hell, or 4 rounds. What was it? It was 3 rounds of hell. I really think that Saturday night we are going to see about 9 or 10 rounds of hell. It's gonna be a war.
Which one?
We'll see. It depends on how well Canelo can handle Golovkin's shots. It could be a snooze fest, especially if Canelo goes into a shell. We'll see.
Which one of Oscar De La Hoya's fights reminds you of what you expect to see this Saturday night with Canelo and Triple G? Because everybody knows your career.
Oscar,
So which fight
you be a boxer for a fight like this? You didn't get it.
Well, I mean, when I Corte, Vargas, maybe Sugar Shane Mosley.
That was such a great fight. Oscar and Shane, two great fighters in their primes, going at it, even up over 12 rounds.
Yeah, they were just fighting rock'em sock'em. But that goes into what I talk about. Certain guys only have a plan A. All right, Oscar was not really a plan B fighter. He never even learned about that mentality of having a plan B until he started to be trained by Floyd Mayweather Sr., where he actually learned how to box, how he learned how to change the tempo in a fight, how he learned how to keep his opponent guessing. All right, Oscar will tell you that himself, that Floyd Mayweather Sr. showed him things that he had never been taught before in regards to boxing tactics. All right, the reason why Oscar lost to Shane Mosley was because he fought Shane Mosley straight up. If he would have boxed, he would have beat Shane, because Shane is a plan A fighter himself, as Vernon Forrest showed you when he fought Shane. Shane cannot fight going backwards. Shane does not deal with lateral movement very well. And, there's just certain things that Shane does not handle well. He doesn't handle a jab well, and Shane does not have a good jab.
Some momentum.
But I have an excuse for that one.
What's that?
I went to East LA and ate some bad burrito. I had a bad stomach.
Yeah, burrito is code word for cocaine. Allegedly.
It's little things I pay attention to. Oscar would come into the ring, and Oscar was rare, if ever, that you look somebody in the face before you touch gloves. But Vargas had talked so much junk to you. He came into the ring a slew of songs, and then one of them was the big payback. Revenge. Looked him dead in his face, like I'm coming for you, and then you took him out. I believe in the 11th round.
11th round, yeah, it was 11 rounds of hell. 11 rounds of hell, and
that was a great fight too. Oscar showed a lot of savvy in that fight. Once again, he was trained by Floyd Mayweather Sr., and that's why he played the song "The Big Payback" when he was coming into the ring. If you ever watch any of Floyd's old 24/7s, he plays "The Big Payback" while he's training. Obviously, he got that from his dad. All right, and that's why Oscar played that song as well. But that was a great fight. That was one of the highlights of Oscar's career. That's one of the few big fights that Oscar fought that he actually won. Most of the time, in most of Oscar's more notable fights against big-name guys, he lost.
And he almost had me out.
Your trainer for that fight, wasn't he? Because you were using that kind of defense.
Exactly.
How did he almost have you out? When?
In the first round.
Yes, he did.
He almost threw me out of the ropes.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, it was
Let's
a
take
tough
a quick
fight.
break because we have more to get to with you. Oscar's not going anywhere. Don't worry. First take from Vegas. Keep watching. I need y'all to settle down for a minute. We got to talk to Oscar for a second. Oscar, how do you see the fight playing out?
I can see this fight. I mean, right from the first bell. I mean, forget about the warm-up rounds, first 1 through 3. I mean, I think it's going to be just bombs away right from the start. I think once they get a taste of what they're in against, I think it's just going to be bombs away right from the start.
It's not going to be no bombs away. Canelo's not that type of fighter. There's not one fight that you could see with Canelo where he just ran in and just started throwing haymakers. Canelo is a guy who, even though he claims Mexican style, you could tell he spends a lot of time watching black boxers and studying the black style of quote-unquote black style of hit and not get hit, upper body movement, rolling punches. These are things that you see when you watch Canelo fight. That's why, at the end of most of his fights, he has a clean face. Also, he tends to fight fighters who, don't provide that much competition. Let's be for real. The guys that he's fought that did provide competition, guys like Austin Trout and Floyd and Lara, you did see that he had a couple of mouses under his eyes. But Canelo is a so-called Mexican fighter who does not fight utilizing the so-called Mexican style. I expect him to be cautious early. I expect him to try to jab with Golovkin's jab, assuming that he has better defense than Golovkin. I expect him to try to get inside and try to hit Golovkin to the body with a left hook, to hold, to try to break off Golovkin's rhythm. He may even try to utilize footwork, which is something that he normally doesn't do, at least early, to try to see if the older man, Golovkin, can get worn down a little bit early trying to follow him around. Who knows? On Golovkin's part, Golovkin has a phenomenal jab. I expect him to try to use that early to hurt Canelo. Golovkin doesn't use his jab as a feeler. He uses it to try to hurt people. So we'll see.
Hagler Hearns, because it started out so hot.
Right.
The best fight I ever saw was Corrales Castillo.
Right.
It started out real good and kept getting better until
better.
it built to a crescendo.
That was the best slugfest, not the best fight. The best fight in history, in my opinion, was the first Leonard Hearns fight.
And it was the best fight I've ever seen. And this has certain characteristics that match that.
I'm gonna have to go. Like I said, 10 rounds of hell, but I'm gonna have to go with my boy Canelo Alvarez.
We'll see. I want to see how Triple G looks in this fight. Everybody's saying that he has shown signs of age. I think that he's just stepped up his competition the last couple of fights. Well, we'll see. I want to see what Triple G's punch resistance looks like to a guy whose punching power is comparative to his. We already saw it against Danny Jacobs. Let's see it against Canelo.
I love you, bro. I'm going with Triple G. Knockout. TKO, 11th round. I think that Triple G is going to use his jab. Ultimately, Canelo's going to have a hard time, and as a result, he's going to be forced. If he's going to have a chance to win this fight, he's going to feel the need to come.
I agree with that. If Triple G's jab is very effective, and God forbid for Canelo's sake, if Triple G starts combining his punches on Canelo, Canelo's going to have to come forward. Don't be surprised to see Oscar jump in the ring in between rounds, trying to use what you think are smelling salts, but probably actually grade A cocaine. Canelo, wake up. Here, sniff this. Canelo hop up out of the damn ring and do a Michael Jackson moonwalk towards Golovkin and try to knock him out.
Because Triple G is going to keep him at a distance with that jab. Even though he's going to be moving forward, he's going to keep him at a distance with that jab. Canelo's going to be brave, got a lot of heart. He's going to come in, he's going to mix it up. And I think that attacks to the body along with that jab is going to wear the smaller guy down.
Wait, what about those counter rights from Canelo?
And the hooks to the body. Either way, if either thing happens,
smaller guy, he's a smaller guy.
Either scenario you two are talking about, the winner is the fan. The winner is the guy who spends his money on this fight and for once is not only not disappointed, but where it exceeds expectations. That kind of fight. You talked about Canelo being the money man in boxing. Sugar Ray Leonard was once upon a time. Before him, Muhammad Ali. After Leonard, you, right? What is it like, because this is Canelo now, when the money man will fight all comers? What does that do for the sport?
Well, I mean, look, what I always tell...
What is this narrative that Ray Leonard fought all comers? I mean, where did they get this nonsense from? Ray Leonard did not fight everybody. Ray Leonard was one of the originators of the wait him out paradigm that they try to land base Floyd Mayweather with. I mean, shit. Ray Leonard made Marvin Hagler wait 7 years for the damn fight.
Fighters who are with Golden Boy, I tell them, look, it's about the fight first. Everything else will follow. Will take care of itself. Don't think about the business and this and that. That'll take care of itself. Just make sure you fight as passionately as you can, because the fans deserve it. Because the fans deserve these types of fights.
And I deserve it too, because I owe my cocaine dealer millions. Help me. Allegedly.
My kid, let me tell you one thing that I've never heard from my little boy. 11 years old. He goes, hey,
Dad, why do you hate wearing pumps so much? I've never heard that, because I love wearing pumps.
I want to go to this fight for the first time ever. My kid, okay? So we're talking about Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns, 30 years since it took place, right? My kids are going to talk about Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G. That's how good it's going to be.
I've actually demanded from everybody I know, you buy this fight. You buy this fight. It's worth it. I'm going to be there, and I got all my DVR set on it. I mean, it's purchased because I want to see this even after I see it.
Once again, please understand, ESPN is closely associated with HBO. Both of these guys are shilling for the fight. When I say both of these guys, I'm talking about Stephen A. and Max Kellerman. Why? Because, they're most likely getting a kickback.
Over and over again. This is it.
We watch sports and we hear athletes talk about it, but even as spectators, because it gives us butterflies. Before the big event, you feel that feeling in your stomach. Most of those times, it's before a fight. Because boxing is one thing, not like the Super Bowl where the end might give it. In the very beginning, it could all be over. The drama starts, ding, ding, round one. And this is the butterfly fight of the last several years.
I don't know. I thought that the first Ward-Kovalev fight was even bigger as far as the butterfly fight than this one, because really it was can Andre Ward's skill level avoid getting knocked out by a guy who was viewed as being a killer in the ring, at least in the first fight. But I mean, we'll see about this fight. Everybody's saying this is a can't lose fight in regards to the style matchup. We'll see.
The drama starts when they enter in the ring. I like the introduction. It starts from there. It starts from there.
Oscar, thank you so much for being with us. Always a pleasure.
I'm proud of you.
Excited.
You did it.
Happy to be here. Thanks all you
You did
guys for coming out here bright and early.
Yes. So my official prediction is Gennady Golovkin. 9th round stoppage. But we'll see. If Canelo wins, it wouldn't shock me. If Canelo does win, it'll most likely be with a body shot. But I expect Golovkin to win. Anywhere from 8 to 10, I'm picking 9th round stoppage for Golovkin. But anyway, peace.